I'm in the door there. I don't.
question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, what is going on? We are live on a Thursday evening. It is June 4th, 2026. We're rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. It is episode 235 of The Throwdown, the community on the interwebs where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt, and today we are welcoming back a previous guest and longtime friend of the show, a guy who hails from my old stomping grounds of Central Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Throwdown with me, the Element, Shane Evans. And it looks like we've lost your picture, Shane.
I can see
Hello?
you and hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, I just can't see you.
All right, let me see what I got going on here.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
no problem. Here we go. Now I'm seeing like a picture of a jungle or something.
I don't know why this happened now all of a sudden.
There we go.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. I can see
Now
you.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Gotta love technology, right?
Oh, yeah. Hello? You hearing me? You hearing me?
Okay, for some reason I can't hear you, but I think you can hear me.
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Let me try.
Okay. We'll get this going. Aha. Let's see what we got here. Hey.
All right. Can you speak?
Yes. Yeah, can you hear
I don't
me?
know why I can't hear you for some reason.
I don't know, man. We were hearing each other just fine.
And I have the audio on.
Let me
Let me try this one more time. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Might be able to hear you.
Hello.
There we go. Now we got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It was like when it switched over from the intro to us, I lost something and it wouldn't work right after that.
I don't know, but hey, at least we got it figured out.
Hey, we're here.
Anyway, so
Sorry
kind of
about
taking
that.
it, not a problem. So taking it from the top, today we are welcoming back a previous guest and longtime friend of the show, a guy who hails from my old stomping grounds of Central Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, the Element, Shane Evans. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's all good to see you again. Like I said right before we got on, it seems like we just did this yesterday. So
I
love
know,
it.
I know, and you know the crazy thing is, man. Looking back at my records, that was all the way back at episode 71, and we're at 235 now. So it's been about a year and a half, and but man, when we first did the first episode with you, man, it was. I was still figuring a lot of stuff out, and I'm still figuring stuff out as we go. But I mean, it's been, next month will actually mark 2 years of this particular version of the show. The first 6 months the show was a lot more music oriented, and then I kind of shifted over to indie wrestling, and it really that really became the focus of the show. But anyway, so what's been going on for you these last 18 months? I'm just going to let you talk for a while.
Well, let's see. When I was with you last time, I had kind of just gotten back into indie wrestling. I was coming fresh off of winning the PWR Heavyweight Championship. Hurt my neck in that match. I don't know if you remember us talking about it or not.
I do, yeah.
And then I kind of just went through a couple, stingers, so to speak, a couple matches in a row after that, as my body was just getting reacclimated to it. And over the summer, I took a hiatus and I said, let me just get myself in shape. I can't do this if my body's not able to handle it. And I lost a little
Right.
bit of weight and I got in a ring as often as I could. And then I came back right at the end of October, and I've been going ever since.
That is awesome. You were mentioning, dealing with injuries and everything, and I kind of looked through my repertoire of questions and figured out the ones that I was using back then as opposed to some of the ones that I'm using now. And
Okay.
this question actually really kind of applies to what you were just talking about, and that is, the physical side of this is all extremely important. So kind of tell us a bit about your gym routine, and in your mind, what would you say are the most crucial exercise or group of exercises for you to keep in ring shape with?
Oh, well, I love this question because I got a gym background and I did powerlifting and never competed in bodybuilding, but I did dabble in training that way for a long time. Played a lot of sports. So uh, my gym routine is forever evolving, and I think that's kind of what you have to do with everything as you go. Um, my actual weightlifting portion of the routine is relatively short. I try to work out 3 or 4 days a week. But if I were to give you like an example of what it would look like on a Monday, I would go in and do a full upper body day. I would spend probably the first 30 minutes of that workout doing all mobility work, getting my hips loosened up, shoulders loosened up, back loosened up. Then probably about 45 minutes or so of actual weight training. I don't do a lot of sets on everything. It's kind of just work up to one top all out set to failure. Second day, usually maybe Tuesday, I would hit like a lower body day, and this is by design. Do legs earlier in the week because typically shows are on the weekend, so I want to be recovered from the lower body workout as much as possible come Saturday or Sunday or maybe even Friday. Wednesday, I'll typically take the day off, maybe do some light stretching, things like that. Still make sure I get my walking and steps in. And then Thursday, I'll go in and hit another upper body day, but maybe keep it chest and tricep oriented. And then Friday, I'll finish off with like a back and bicep day. That way, I'm hopefully carrying over a nice little pump going into the weekend for the show. And then I try to do some form of conditioning at least twice a week. My favorite lately has been like the air bike where you have the handles like this, doing
Oh
all out
yeah.
sprints on that, or the rowing machine, doing an all out couple all out sprints on that. Nothing crazy, maybe just like 5 or 6 all out sprints of 15, 20 seconds, followed by a light pace for a minute or so. And then actually trying to get in the ring, of course, as much as I can. Unfortunately, it's about an hour away to the closest ring, so I'm not able to get out there as much as I'd like to. But I was going about twice a week at one point, and that did really good for me. There's a lot you can still do at home. I mean, you can throw mats down and just practice getting up and getting down. And I don't mean like necessarily taking a bump, but just you start in the flat on your back position and you feet up to the right knee into a wrestling stance, go back down, and just things like that you can do. You can do rolls, things like that. So trying to find a way to make it work with the limited resources that I do have.
Absolutely. So, we're obviously mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble some into pop culture, and I'm always looking for recommendations. So, by any chance, are you watching or listening to anything really cool right now?
Define cool, because I mean, hey, it's all subjective, right? So my wife actually wanted to watch the show on Hulu called The Act about the girl Gypsy Rose that killed her mother. I don't know if you ever heard about that story.
I've heard of it, yeah.
It was very, I didn't really know much about it. She very much fills me in on a lot of what's going on in the world and pop culture, and I kind of just watch whatever she puts on because I'm
Gotcha.
busy with so much other stuff. But no, it was an interesting show. It definitely got me engrossed in the story, and it was captivating and sad story, but it was interesting to say the least.
Very cool. Very cool. So, over the last 18 months, what would you say is your favorite match that you've been a part of?
That's a hard question. Um, Probably back in March, I wrestled a longtime friend of mine named Joey Knock in PWR.
Okay.
Obviously, PWR is my home fed, as I've discussed with you last time, so I have a lot more creative freedom there. Knock, he's how do I compare him? He doesn't wrestle as often as I wish he did because he's so good. But he's kind of steered away from it, and he took about a 7 or 8 year hiatus away from it, like I did. But now he's gigantic and he's in great shape, and he's a beast. He can flip. He's almost like a, I don't want to say he's as big as Brian Cage, but he's like a little mini Brian Cage or Alex Hammerstone. He's just a jack guy that's super athletic. and he can do it all. And we've known each other for 20 years, and we just, whenever you work with somebody like that you've known for so long, me and him even tagged together at one point. You're not afraid to
Mm-hmm.
lay it in and just put on a show. And that's what we did.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I have always loved the big but super athletic guys that can move like somebody much smaller than their size.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I've always felt like that is something special. You know.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, again, over the last 18 months, what has been your low point?
Definitely last summer when I had to step away for about 3 months. And I was really questioning if I was even going to keep doing it or not at that point. 'Cause I had something aggravated in my neck. Um, I went and got it looked at since then because that was a big concern of mine. And I said, well, if I'm going to keep doing this, I got to get my body right. But first, let's go get looked at. Had x-rays done, had an MRI done, CT scan. Fortunately, everything was pretty solid, all things considered. And I was given the green light for the go ahead. And just once that was established, the mental confidence came back immediately, because that was the thing. I was so worried about hurting myself, to the point of being crippled maybe. Um,
Right.
Once I knew I wasn't at risk of that, and not to say you're not at risk of that because it could happen at any time, right? But just let's say you're in a situation like Edge was back in 2011, where just a standard flat back bump could put you in a wheelchair the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, and I was like, okay, I'm that's a lot of relief. Let's get to work. And that's what I did. I
Yeah.
got the diet in check, got the training in check. It's not perfect every day, but it's consistent, and that's what matters most.
Gotcha. So what did they actually say about your neck? Was it just kind of just general wear and tear,
So
or
I went and got looked at by a
go ahead?
couple people. No, you're good. They said my neck. So, and this probably has nothing to do with wrestling, but the way the neck is the spine is supposed to almost kind of curve back, and I have a stick straight neck like this, and it's probably because I'm guilty of looking down at my phone all day, as most of us are. And they said
Yeah.
that's more than likely what the cause of it were. The spacing between my vertebrae was pretty good. Some of them were a little closer than you'd like to see them, but all things considered, for the amount of bumps I've taken, been in a couple car accidents, they weren't too bad. So yeah, that's pretty much all they had to say.
Well, that's good. I
Yeah.
mean, it definitely beats being in a situation where they're recommending fusion or other type of neck and back surgery, because necks and spines are a tricky thing. Some people come back well from surgery and some don't, and it's really just on a case by case type of thing. You know, I find it interesting that we really have not heard much about Kevin Owens since his surgery. I'm hoping recovery and everything is going well, but the fact that you're not hearing anything is a little. I mean, to me, that the silence kind of speaks volumes. You know, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm, I'm Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just more or less agreeing with you. I was gonna throw in there though. I don't think it's necessarily that bad. I mean, hopefully not. We didn't hear
Yeah,
from Randy for a long time when he had the back
true.
injury. So Kevin's probably just taking his time, not rushing it, reevaluating. And let's be honest, if he came in right now at such a crowded room he'd be walking into, that he's
Yeah,
probably just waiting
that's
for the
true.
right time and the right opportunity. But I don't think
Yeah,
he's had his last match.
hopefully not.
I
Hopefully.
don't think so. So
So, again, over the last 18 months, what has been your most interesting or unusual encounter with a fan? Have you had any funny fan stories recently?
um I had a random comment on my Instagram on a video from a fan who I remembered them from the show, and it was like 3 days later I'd posted the clip, and I guess they found the clip online, and I guess they felt the need to how do I word this? they felt the need to comment on what I was packing in my singlet, so to speak. Uh,
Oh.
it was just completely random. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, thanks, whatever." That was pretty bizarre. Like it was unexpected, you know.
No doubt.
But
No
hey,
doubt.
whatever gets people going. But nothing too crazy in person. I see a lot of the same fans at a lot of the same shows that I work in the area, which is cool because you have like a dedicated fan base and they'll go to, they'll travel for different shows. I can do a show and you're familiar with Central Florida, so I can do a show in
Oh yeah.
Ocala and I can go from
Yep.
Ocala all the way over to Longwood, which is Orlando area, and I'll still see some of the same people. So it's cool seeing people travel like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. As you know, as a kid for about 7 years, I lived in Satellite Beach, near Cocoa and Melbourne, that
Okay.
area.
Yep, yep.
So yeah, I mean, moved up here to Atlanta back in 1983, and I've been up here ever since. So I mean, Atlanta's pretty much home, but I do remember Central Florida fondly. So so
It's gotten very busy probably since you were last year. I will say that.
oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've been back down there, but not for any great length of time.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to actually come down for Chris Page's show in September. Uh,
Okay.
so
I'll probably
so
be
I
there.
mean,
Even if I'm not booked, I'll come by and see you.
awesome, awesome. That would be great. So, this is one of these questions that the answer can literally almost change moment to moment, hour to hour, day to day. But at this very moment, in your opinion, who are the best male and best female wrestlers in the world? Who's the best man and who's the best woman?
Oh, that's such a hard question to answer.
I know, isn't
Um,
it? Isn't it great?
I mean, obviously, what MJF is doing right now is just on a whole nother level, and he's bringing back the old school and incorporating it into the new school, and I love to see it. But then I can't take away the run that I just saw CM Punk have, and he's one of my all-time favorites. And he had that great match with Roman at WrestleMania, and he's in
Yeah,
the best shape of his life, probably. It's like, why didn't you do this 15 years ago? But hey, better late than never, like we talked about earlier. So
yeah,
honestly, I got to give it to one of those two guys right there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Best female, there's a lot of good ones right now. I really like
There are.
Stephanie. Stephanie Vakura is really good. She's probably the best in the ring, I think, right now. But total package, I mean, you got to go with Rhea still. I think she's got it all.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a match that I am dying to see, and it's gonna
No worries.
it's gonna happen at some point, but I am looking forward to seeing Rhea Ripley hook it up with Jordan Grace.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's definitely gonna happen.
I mean, I think those two ladies could really tear the house down,
Hell yeah.
I'm definitely excited for that. But yeah, man, somebody else on the male side that I would put up there right now is Will Ospreay. I mean,
Yeah,
he's doing great work too. So,
he is. But going back to like those injuries, he scares me when I watch him wrestle.
oh, I know. Yeah, his style. Yeah, I'm afraid he's going to injure himself again. I hope somebody is talking to him and encouraging him to tone it down just a little bit.
I really
But
like. I think if he can get to where like what Kenny's doing right now, where
yeah,
he's toned it down just a little bit, but his storytelling has improved dramatically. I think because of it, because now he's focusing more on each little detail rather than just big move, big spot, um,
right.
and not killing himself in the process. And he's still putting on great matches, like the one he had with Swerve a few months ago.
Oh yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
I stole like
So,
three spots from that match, shamelessly.
nice. Nice.
So
So piggybacking onto that question, who is, in your mind, are the best tag team in the world right now?
best tag team in the world. I mean, the two most consistent tag teams in recent times, FTR, the Young Bucks. I don't love the Young Bucks, but I'm not gonna like discredit their greatness and what all they've done. Same with
Yeah.
FTR. I don't necessarily love FTR, but I'm not gonna discredit what they've done. It's cool seeing Christian and Cope doing their thing at their age. It's cool seeing the Hardys still at it.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know that I can give a best right now, but I guess if I had to default to one, I would probably go with FTR just because they are so consistent. Them or the Bucks.
Yep, yep. You know, I'm actually hearing rumors of a possible FTR return to WWE because apparently their contracts are about up in AEW, and they've sort of kind of done everything there is to do there. And
Yeah,
so heading back to WWE would definitely bring some interesting new opportunities for them. Because there's a lot of tag teams there now that weren't there when they were around. Street Profits, Fraxium. I mean,
I like Fraxium a lot, a
I
lot,
do
a lot,
too.
a
I do
lot, a
too.
lot.
The athleticism of those guys is just otherworldly. I mean, and how fast Nathan Frazier can run the ropes
Oh
is
yeah,
just it's just crazy.
yeah. I love watching those guys.
Man, and another and just kind of dream booking right now, but another match that is going to happen at some point that I'm dying for is Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
I
gonna be a good
mean,
one. I'm waiting to
yeah.
see if Zilla's gonna debut or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't yet. However, this whole new bloodline thing they're doing right now, I could see Zilla potentially coming in for that. But yeah,
Yeah,
I've been kind of surprised that they haven't brought him in yet.
yeah. I think he'll do really well. But yeah, Braun and Jacob would be really good for sure.
Yeah, or really, if you wanted to sort of put a third factor into that, put Oba in there with
Oh
either of those
yeah.
guys. I mean,
Yeah, Oba, they're in a weird spot with Oba right now because he's so over, and it's almost like you got to capitalize on it. But I know the
yeah,
way Triple H likes to book, he likes to really see if it's going to stick before he fully pulls the trigger on it.
yeah, yeah.
So,
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Brock Oba thing going forward. I mean, obviously there's going to be a third match. Probably at SummerSlam it'll probably be Brock's retirement.
yeah,
But
it's in Minneapolis. It's his hometown. I would think that's probably going to be it.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know, like, from a contractual standpoint, if when he retired at WrestleMania, if that was a storyline they planned out in advance, or if he was shoot retiring and then they said, "Yeah, you still owe us some dates, buddy."
yeah. I tend to think he was shoot retiring, and then they reminded him that you're still obligated, and
Yeah,
because I mean that because it felt very real and it felt um, unplanned. Like really, he was just like I've kind of met my match here, and I think I'm done. And yeah, they wouldn't let him, so to speak.
yeah. And I actually liked their second match better than their first one.
Yeah,
Not because of the
yeah. I
finish.
mean,
It was more, it had like a higher level of intensity to it, you know?
it did. Yeah, yeah, because Brock sort of knew what was coming and was able to up the intensity and kind of compensate for a lot of what Oba brought to the table a lot better. So this is another question that I've kind of added since our last encounter, And that is, over the years you've been doing this, I'm sure you've developed some of these, but what would you say is your biggest wrestling related pet peeve?
I got a lot of them.
But let's hear them.
So I remember, I think we talked about this before we went on the air, but just how different the scene is now compared to how it was previously when I first started. There's a lot of guys who, uh, I'll put it like this: if you have to tell everybody you're a vet, you're not really a vet. Like you don't need to announce it if you are. Like people know you are. And I see that a lot nowadays. There's guys in the locker room, they've been doing this for maybe 5 years. Well, as a vet, and everything they say starts out with, well, as a vet, and they give their opinion. And it's like, all right, cool, we get it. You've been doing this for a few years. That's probably pet peeve number one. Pet peeve number two, definitely, and this is nothing new to wrestling. It's very clicky backstage. Um, there's a lot of every promotion you go to, there's a little circle of people that are definitely the favorites, and they just have their way of moving and operating. And I don't really fall in with that. I never have, and I never will. So it's something I have to tread lightly with because I do accept that that's just the nature of wrestling. That's the nature of the corporate world here in America and just everything in general. But that's always going to be a pet peeve of mine. And then honestly, it pet peeves me a lot nowadays when we talked about this last time, but it pet peeves me a little bit how much guys they don't really want to plan stuff out too much. Like they kind of just want to call it in the ring. And I'm not saying that calling it in the ring's bad, but it's like we could do a lot more if we know what we're doing before we go out there. We can adjust as we go. Being able to have the ability to call it in the ring is good if you need to call an audible, but let's do some cool stuff. Let's put on a show for the fans.
I agree. I think a lot of the young guys feel like, if I can call it in the ring, I've made it. And they're focused on wanting to do that to their own detriment. Because like you said, if you at least talk it over a little bit beforehand, you know, and bounce some ideas off of each other, you could come up with even cooler stuff than if you're just trying to do it on the fly.
Yeah,
So,
and it's one thing if like, all right, let's I'll use like WWE as an example. They just
mhm.
started doing house shows again. And then we of course they did house shows for a long, long time. Guys were
Oh yeah,
working each other 10, 15, 20 times before the pay-per-view match. And they got to a point where yeah, they could call it in the ring because they worked each other so many times leading into it. They knew all of each other's moves, they knew different ways they could transition in and out of them. But if you put me against a guy that I've never worked with before, and other than me maybe knowing what his name is and what his finish is, I don't got really much to work with. I don't know. Maybe he's got some stuff he's not comfortable taking from me. Maybe I got some stuff I'm not comfortable taking from him. If I kind of know what he's
yep,
doing, I can know how to react to it better. And just I think that's the way to do it. And I mean, I was trained by the Dudleys, and I know the term that people use is spot monkey. If you plan a lot of stuff out from the beginning of a match, but those guys plan a lot of stuff out, and that's how they trained us. Like you're safer in there when you know what's coming and what to expect. Not saying you got to plan the entire match from start to finish, but your big key high spots and transitions should always be planned out in advance, in my opinion.
absolutely. So, what would you say is the worst bump you have taken in the last 18 months?
Probably going back to that one that hurt me when we first talked, that where he did an arm ringer and I was supposed to face bump and I overshot it and kind of scorpion bumped it.
Yeah,
That was pretty rough. Other than that, I'm pretty careful about what bumps I take. I try not to do any direct neck bumping. I don't mind doing a
yeah.
head spike. Face bumping, like a flat stomach bump, is not my favorite thing in the world, but I'll do them reluctantly. But they're not fun for sure. It's funny because like I did it for so long before, and then I was away, and you almost kind of lose the superpower. Because I remember just bumping and bumping and bumping and bumping and hitting ropes, and it was nothing. And I was a little younger at the time, of course, too. But now, I feel it the next day, so I pick and choose which bumps I'm going to take if they're on the bigger side.
Absolutely. So, what would you say, and again, over these last 18 months, you mentioned that you've been doing as much training as you can. What would you say is the most significant thing you have learned wrestling wise in the last 18 months?
That's a good question. I got to think on that one for a second.
Take your time.
There's a lot. I've always prided myself on being a psychology guy. Because hitting moves is whatever. Like I can, I can do that. It's never been an issue for me. It's how do we make sense of why we're going from this move to that move, and what am I doing in between to sell as a baby face while this heel's getting his heat on me? Because I do primarily work baby face nowadays. And that's been kind of a new thing for me as well, because during this whole run, since the first time we talked till now, I've been primarily a baby face, and that was something I never did before. Um, and then contrary to that, it's the classic old school way was the heel usually calls the match. And
Right,
a lot of these younger guys I'm getting in there with are the heels, and I'm calling the match because I've more experience. But I
right.
want them to still call what they want to call because I want them to get that experience. So just learning different, I don't know that I have like a specific one answer for it, but just learning the different nuances with, your selling and how you sell to the crowd. And just like, I'll give you an example. If I'm a face and a guy is, let's say he's working my leg in the match, working my left leg. All right. He's
Hmm.
stomping on it and I'm trying to get away from him. I'm not just going to lay there and let him stomp on me. I'm going to get away
Right.
from him and I'm going to turn my body where he's to my right side so that my left leg is guarded and I'm trying to hide and get away from him to the corner. And just those little intricate details that add the realism to it.
Absolutely. So, uh, you mentioned that you're on a run where you've been working predominantly babyface, whereas before you were doing a lot of heel type of work. Um, how has that adjustment been? Are you enjoying being a babyface, or do you miss the heel work? What are your thoughts on that?
I do miss heel work, but it's easy. It's easy to get people to boo you. And it's
Yeah,
especially nowadays, I think it's harder than ever to get over as a baby face because people naturally want to cheer for the bad guy.
yeah,
And as a baby face, I find that the best baby faces are flawed baby faces, not
yeah,
the white meat Boy Scout baby
yeah.
faces, so to speak. People see right through that act and it's boring and it's played out and it's just not interesting. It's one thing to be a baby face in one promotion, but then when you go to a whole new promotion you've never worked and you're in front of people that have never seen you before, and the challenge of getting to get over in front of those people now, I love that. And it's been a lot of fun for me to do that. But do I miss being a heel? Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, yeah. It's been interesting, really, over the last year, especially, to watch the evolution of the character of Cody Rhodes. Because for the longest time, he was doing the whole white meat baby face, but lately there has definitely been some evolution and a bit more edge to his character, because I think he was picking up on the fact that the crowds were starting to turn on him a little bit, because they were just tired of the whole shtick. And in my opinion, heel Cody is best Cody. So I'm actually excited to at some point down the road see a full blown heel turn from him, because his heel work, especially on the Indies and in Japan when he was doing all of that, was just terrific. And I feel like the babyface Cody is a little played out at this point.
I think it'll be its own. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think it'll be similar to when Roman finally went heel, where people are going to be so ready for it by the time it happens that it's going to be so over.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
People are waiting to actually boo him in
Yeah,
unison.
yeah,
So that's
yep.
coming and it's going to be good. And Cody won't fumble the heel turn and how the run is done. So
Right, right. Yeah, he's savvy enough, and and really grew up in the business to the point where he knows what's going to work and what's not. and I feel like management trusts him to pretty much kind of do his own thing. So
And now I'll flip the script and ask you a question. Do you think they
okay.
have a baby face waiting in the helm to be the guy of the company in that role?
That's interesting. Yeah, because they'll need somebody in that role. I had not really thought about that. I mean, there's a few people they could potentially slot in there. I mean, um, I was gonna say Oba, but I mean Oba's kind of he's sort of on an island unto himself, to some extent, and they're talking about him possibly doing a program with Roman next Mania. So, which that would be interesting, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts as to who they could?
I mean, Oba would probably be what I would think would be the first pick as well. He's kind of in that Goldberg type run right now where he's just over no matter what and he's destroying people. But a
I
guy,
could.
I can't think of anybody like yeah, I think he could fill that role. But I mean, somebody like Cody who's polished and can do the TV interviews and the commercials and that kind of guy. That I
Yeah.
don't know that they have at the moment.
Um, I was thinking if they were to do a face turn with Braun Breaker,
Yeah,
potentially, you know, apply a little bit of polish to him, and you could have something on the babyface side. Uh, you
yeah,
know, m- uh, but I don't know.
yeah.
That's an interesting question though, because yeah, if you're taking Cody to the other side, you got to have somebody credible to play opposite him. So
Definitely.
so just kind of a quick rundown. Tell us about your gear bag. What all do you carry in your gear, and do you carry anything unique or unusual?
No, I'm pretty boring. I literally just take I mean, I'll take a pair of backup gear just in case, but
Mm-hmm.
I got two that I pretty much alternate from. I got a third one I just ordered, new color scheme, but singlet, knee pads, elbow pads, two different sets of each, the shoes. I carry a bag of resistance bands, get a little pre-match pump in, got tons of wrist tape for myself and if I need to let anybody loan it, and then just a spray bottle for the hair, and that's it. That's really it. I'll take some electrolyte packets in there with me. That's pretty much it.
So simplicity is best sometimes.
Simplicity
Yeah.
is bad. No, but it's a big heavy bag. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
So
essentially two full sets of gear. So
yeah. So what over these last 18 months, what has been your favorite venue to wrestle in?
probably the promotion I told you about at the beginning of this that Foley's going to be there on August 8th.
Yeah.
Ultimate Florida Wrestling. It's at the Boys and Girls Club in Ocala. It's a basketball gymnasium, but I really like it because it has rubber floors instead of the wood floor, so the acoustics aren't. It's not as echoey in there, but it still sounds really good. And then the walls are like a dark blue, and they have a good lighting setup in there, and it when you got 250 people in there, it's a really good look and feel, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice, nice.
A lot of fun.
So as we did the last time you were on the show, we're still doing the thing where the previous guest gets to pose a question for the next guest.
Okay.
And I've actually got two because both of these are exceptionally good questions.
Okay.
So one of my recent guests was a wrestler based in Northern California by the name of Alpha Zoe. and he's from the Stockton area, and actually, back in the day, he was a travel buddy with Jacob Fatu, which was he had some interesting stories about that.
Okay.
But the question that he posed is if you could have a dream ladder match, who would you want to be in the ladder match with?
A dream ladder match. I mean, the first person that comes to mind when I think of a ladder match is Jeff Hardy for me.
Yeah,
Um, Rob Van Dam would probably be the close second. So I would say one of those two.
gotcha,
But they're
gotcha.
taking all the bumps, not me.
Yeah. Have you ever done a ladder match?
I have, and I don't enjoy them. Um,
Yeah,
Not because so that's a low. Yeah, I have. The reason I say I don't enjoy them, usually the setup for them in an indie promotion is not going to match what you see in a high budget promotion. The ladders aren't going to be as good a quality. The setup for whatever's being hung from the top isn't necessarily going to be the appropriate height or hung in the best way. So it's just not as clean as you envision it being in your head going into it.
right,
Bumping
right.
on the ladder actually isn't that bad. I don't mind bumping on a ladder. Definitely don't like when they're sideways and you land on that part. That's not fun. But
Yeah, yeah, that's not good.
when they're propped in the corner, or when they have the ladder in the middle with the other one propped across the rope, like those are fun bumps to take, and everybody pops
Yeah,
for them. I haven't ever had one break on me yet, so I'm not sure if
yeah.
when WWE does that or AEW, if they're gimmicked or if they're hitting from such hard impact they break. But I haven't had it happen to me yet.
Yeah, I've wondered that too. When you see a ladder break, is it a gimmick ladder or did the ladder legitimately just take such a shot that it broke? And but that's sort of the behind the curtain type stuff that
Now I
we'll
think
never know.
like when Jeff Hardy did the big, like, I don't know what you want to call it, ass bump on the edge through the ladder at WrestleMania
Oh
23.
yeah,
I don't think that was gimmicked. I think that was enough to just break that.
yeah, yeah. I agree. But
So
yeah, yeah. So, another recent guest, a wrestler out of West Virginia who's actually been doing this for about 28 years, a guy named Chance Prophet. The question that he posed is, what is your favorite multi man match that you have been in and why?
that's a hard one because when I was younger, I loved multi-man matches. I'm sure you've seen it. Everybody has the Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels match from
Oh,
TNA.
yeah.
So that was right about the time that I was first getting into the business, and every three-way, four-way, I was trying to emulate that. In more recent times, though, and we didn't do nearly as crazy as stuff as they did or as long, but I had a match with a good friend of mine, Damian Winters, and then another guy who's been in the business for a long time. He was actually trained by the Wild Samoans. His wrestling name is Vertigo. We had a three-way match just recently back in November, and it was like an 8 to 9 minute match, and it was just bang, 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 nonstop, and the crowd loved it, and it was a lot of fun. Everything we did was smooth and clean, and it was like I don't want to say it was a perfect match because I don't think there's such a thing, but there was no miscues, and it felt really good afterwards.
Got you. Got you. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to ask to the next guest?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off the ladder match question.
Okay.
If you could be in any type of gimmick match, which wouldn't be feasible in an independent promotion, which one would it be? Meaning, like, if you had the
That's
option to
actually
be
a.
in a Hell in a Cell or an elimination chain or anything crazy to that extent, like what would it be?
I like that. How would you answer that?
I love the Hell in a Cell, and there's been so many of them to the point that it's almost kind of lost its luster a little bit. But uh, I love just a good old fashioned bloody brawl. So that would probably be my answer. I
Yeah,
actually did
yeah.
my first. Now, this is something that can be done on the indies. I did my first bull rope match earlier this year.
Really?
Yeah,
Let's hear about that.
I've had a dog collar match a long time ago. The bull rope was fun. It actually broke on the opening spot of the match. um, they gave me and this guy like it was only like a 10 to 12 foot bull rope, so it wasn't very long. And when they handed it to us, it didn't even have loops on it, so we had to wrap it around our arm, our wrist is how we did it, and then tape it. And the opening spot was I fired up on him, fired up on him, fired up on him, and then I turned around. And when I turned around, I kind of stepped over the rope where it was now under me. And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And then he was supposed to pull the rope up and kind of crotch me with it, and I was going to
Mm-hmm.
sell it. And I was going to sell it, and he was going to pull it up a second time and make me flip bump and then go into his heat. Well, when he
Mm-hmm.
pulled it up the first time, it just snapped off my arm.
Oh
Uh, s-
no.
so basically, yeah, basically we just improvised, and this is where I said, you plan things out, but sometimes you got to call it in the ring, and we made it work. So he whipped me with it and the whole nine, and we had fun still.
Nice, nice. Did the bull rope have the cowbell on it?
It did, and actually, there was a point where I was just holding it, and I was throwing punches at him, and even though I was holding it with my opposite hand, like because I was putting my whole body into it, the belt actually came back and hit me in the face one time when I was punching him.
Nice, nice.
So I was like, "Ow."
Uh, no doubt. I have always been a sucker for lumberjack matches. I just think those are fun. I mean,
I was a lumberjack for a lumberjack match back in February.
nice,
That was a
nice.
lot of fun.
Have you ever been in a lumberjack match?
I have not. I have not been an actual in the ring in a lumberjack match. No.
Yeah, I've just
Um, Now I saw this is a pretty cool concept, and I would actually like to see this done better than the way that I've seen it done.
mm-hmm,
Um, it was called the Elimination Gauntlet match. So same idea as an elimination chamber. It's a six-man match. It starts out with two guys in the ring. Obviously, there's no structure, but it starts out with two guys, and then every 3 minutes they had another guy enter or something, whatever time they did. But each time a new person enters, the match type changes.
oh, that's
So
interesting.
yeah, and I think that the way they did it, it could be tweaked better than it was. But I think if you could take that idea and find a way to fine tune it, I think that could be a really cool match type because it kind of mixes the idea of like a six-person chamber scramble match with a three stages of hell match almost in a way.
Interesting. I can't remember what company it was, but a while back I saw an indie battle royal match where the company's championship was on the line, and literally there were probably 12 or 13 title changes during that match because the person that was the champion came in, he got eliminated, and the person that eliminated him became the champion, and then that person gets eliminated, and it was weird. It had kind of some cheesy moments, but it was just an interesting concept.
Yeah,
Uh,
almost kind of like a 24/7 style match without the 24/7
Sort
title,
of,
but
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's like
So I mean,
I don't remember what the specific match type was, but it was whatever they did. I want to say it was around like 2006, but it was. I know he doesn't count as being champion in the record books, but it was whatever that multi-man match they did where Brian Kendrick was technically the WWE champion during
oh
the match,
yeah, yeah,
kind of like that. So
yeah.
yeah, it's always fun when they do those kind of things.
Yeah. Having grown up back in the territory days, the one thing that I used to really enjoy that they just can't do now because there aren't all of the territories was the loser leave town match.
Yeah,
Those were kind of cool because whoever lost, you would then be wondering where are they going to pop up next, because they've got to leave this territory. So where are they going to go? And
yeah.
now with I mean, I guess technically you could still do that somewhat within the indies, but as far as the major companies go, it would be very difficult to do a loser leave town type of match.
It
So
would be. I mean, people, there's matches where guys put their career on the line.
yeah, but
Um,
that's that's a little different.
I actually, if everything goes according to plan, it's not going to be until around November, but I'm going to be involved in a match with my hair on the line. So we'll see how that
Really?
goes if we get to that point. Oh, yeah.
Can you say who it's going to be against, or
I
would you
don't
rather
want to
keep
say
that?
that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
only because there's a lot of moving parts to that whole thing. It doesn't. It's not. I wouldn't ruin it that bad if I said who was against. But I don't think any of our people necessarily will see this. But just in the event that they do, I don't want to blow
Gotcha.
that. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So, during his farewell tour, John Cena kept bringing up the concept of leaving wrestling better than he found it. And
mm,
that really resonated with me. I just thought, well, what a cool thing to strive for. And I've kind of incorporated that into my repertoire of questions. So, I'll ask you, what are you trying to do to, at some point when your in ring career is over, what are you doing to try to ultimately leave wrestling better than you found it?
love this question because it's exactly on track with where I'm headed. So when I first got back into this 18 months ago, roughly, and I already
Mm
knew then that this was going to be my goal. I used to own a powerlifting gym, and I had a business partner. We had a little bit of a falling out. I closed it up, pulled out of the business, but I've known ever since then that I wanted to do my own thing again. Fast forward to now, within the next 3 to 5 years, I would like to open up another gym and incorporate a wrestling school into that. And what I'm doing now is helping build my resume, so that when the time comes, I'm a credible person to train others, bring in other trainers, and teach guys to do it the right way, not throw guys in there for 3 months, take their money, have them do a couple bumps, teach them a couple fancy arm drags and lucha spots, and say, all right, you're a pro wrestler, go have fun now. Like, really give back to the business and teach guys how to do it the right way. The storytelling, the selling, the character work, the promo work, everything.
Absolutely. So, before we move toward wrapping all of this up, I want to give you a few minutes to kind of put yourself over, and if you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to, do it.
All right, cool. Yeah. Two biggest shows coming up. I got August 8th. I got Ultimate Florida Wrestling in Ocala, Florida. Mick Foley is going to be there. Tickets are on sale now. You can look them up, Ultimate Florida Wrestling. And in my home fed, PWR Pro Wrestling Rebellion, we run out of New Smyrna Beach, Florida, right there on the coast. We have a show coming up July 25th called Too Hot to Handle, but our big 2-year anniversary show called Ascension is going down on September 12th. And the match hasn't been announced yet, but I'm supposed to be in a pretty big match on that show. That's kind of like our WrestleMania type show. So if you're in the area, definitely come check it out.
Nice, nice. So, looking over at the Instagram chat, we've actually got a fair number of people that have come through tonight. We've got TKO Dean, we've got K Thorn 119, we've got Thick Poppy, who is actually coming on the show later
I
this
know,
month.
I know Thick Poppy.
Do you?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We've got Johnny Cass, Cool Rocket 29, Chaos Galvan from out in the San Antonio area of Texas. We've got Wrestle Theater. We've got Don Fernando, who actually is going to be coming on the show next week. We've got Brian Compton, who is another upcoming guest. And we've got Noro Demora, who is also going to be coming on the show in July. So it's been pretty active on the Instagram side. I'm definitely pleased to see this many people showing up. And as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, this next Monday, June the 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 236, and our guest is pro wrestler Trinell, who was formerly known as Quincy Elliott in NXT. And he's back on the Indies now, and I'm definitely looking forward to spending some time with him, finding out what's been going on with him and what's coming next. And then next Wednesday, June the 10th, at a special start time of 10 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 237, and our guest is a wrestler based in British Columbia of Canada, Good Theolonius. He has a really interesting gimmick, and I'm definitely excited to pick his brain and find out a little bit more about the scene in British Columbia. So,
Cool.
Definitely want to thank you for your time, Shane. This has been an absolute pleasure. And
Always.
like I said before, man, you're part of the family. So you've got a standing invitation to come back anytime you want. Hopefully, maybe we can collaborate on some other stuff in the near future. I would love to do some additional content with you.
Yeah, I would love that as well. And there's a couple guys I'm gonna send you their info that need to get themselves out there a little more. So I'm gonna send them your way. Maybe have a conversation with them and learn a little bit about them and introduce them to the world.
Absolutely, I would love to do that. So definitely, definitely do that. Definitely send me their information, and we'll make that happen.
All right.
But anyway, so for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, definitely take the time and do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next Monday with Trinell at 7 p.m. Eastern, be good to each other, love each other, and let's keep throwing down.